Deep in prehistory, early Homo and later hunter-gatherers usually carried broad, sturdy jaws. Their mouths held all their teeth with room to spare. Crowding rarely happened. Straight teeth simply came with the way life worked. Daily meals demanded effort. Food stayed tough, fibrous and gritty, and it got broken down by constant biting and heavy chewing. That workload mattered. It kept jawbones working hard during growth, day after day. As those jaws grew under pressure, dental arches tended to spread wide. Teeth then erupted into a mouth that already fit them. For most people, alignment looked normal, not special. Crooked smiles stayed the exception. Then a quiet change began. Stone tools helped people cut, scrape and pound food before it ever reached the mouth. With less work left for teeth, daily chewing demands eased even while diets still came from the wild. Fire pushed that shift further. Cooking softened meat and roots, breaking fibers and starches ahead of time. Meals still fed growing bodies, but they demanded fewer hard bites. The jaw received less constant workout. And here was the catch. The teeth did not shrink along with that new ease. Tooth size stayed mostly the same, while jaw stimulation slowly dropped. It was not a crisis yet, but the trend had started. And then farming arrived, and it changed the menu and the mouth. Instead of wild plants and hunted meat, many communities relied on grains and other starchy staples. These foods filled bellies, but they asked far less of the jaws. Day after day, chewing got easier. Bread, porridge and cooked grains replaced long, tough bites. For adults it felt like progress, but for children it quietly mattered more because growing bones followed the work they had to do. With less hard chewing, many farming children developed slightly smaller jaws and narrower dental arches. The teeth still aimed to come in at their old sizes. That mismatch stayed hidden at first, but it set up future mouths for crowding. Across settled societies, food had changed again. Grains had gone through grinding stones, dough had been baked into bread, pots had turned tough plants and meat into stew. Meals arrived already broken down, chewing demands dropped. That mattered most in childhood, when faces still grew. Bone responded to work. With less biting and tearing, the jaws received less daily pressure and pull. The dental arches tended to grow narrower, even as teeth stayed similar. Earlier hunter-gatherers had built wide arches through constant chewing. Now, softer cooking and processing let many children grow up with smaller, tighter curves of bone. Space became harder to come by. The same teeth started fitting worse. In later farming societies, and especially in early towns and cities, a new pattern appeared in the bones. More bad bites. Teeth overlapped. Front teeth twisted. Jaws looked tighter, as if space had run out. That seemed strange, because tooth size did not shift much from one generation to the next. Teeth followed slow evolution. Yet the jaw did not wait for evolution. It responded to childhood, to what it did every day. With softer, easier foods, young jaws worked less. Less force meant less growth outward and forward. The result was a mismatch. Nearly the same sized teeth tried to fit into a faster shrinking jaw. Crowding followed. Then industry changed the table again. Modern milling stripped grains into fine white flour, and factories turned food into soft, uniform products. Biting became optional. Chewing became brief. For children, it became a whole new childhood diet. This mattered most while faces still grew. Jawbones needed repeated heavy work to widen and lengthen. But refined breads, cereals, and purees asked almost nothing of the chewing muscles. Less force meant less stimulation, and jaws ended up smaller. Teeth did not shrink at the same speed, so the mismatch tightened. Front teeth overlapped, molars rotated, and the last teeth, the wisdom teeth, often met a wall of bone with no room to erupt, staying trapped and impacted. Modern childhood added new pressures on a growing face. Breastfeeding often ended earlier, while bottles and pacifiers stayed longer. That changed how the tongue and lips worked. The jaws received less natural steady shaping. At the same time, allergies and chronic congestion pushed many kids into mouth breathing. With lips apart, the tongue rested low instead of up on the palate. The upper arch lost support. It tended to grow narrower. These changes did not replace the soft diet effect. They piled onto it. Less chewing already reduced jaw growth. Now, posture and breathing steered the bite off course too. Crowding, overbites and crossbites followed. Once crooked teeth became common, a new kind of solution took over. Instead of asking why jaws ended up smaller, dentistry built ways to force teeth to fit. Wires, bands and brackets gradually turned crowding into a treatable problem. When there still was not enough room, dentists removed teeth on purpose. Premolars often went first, and wisdom teeth followed. Space got created by subtraction, not growth. The bite got aligned, but the underlying shortage remained. This marked a bigger shift in thinking. Modern care managed the mismatch after childhood had already shaped the jaw. It corrected the final arrangement, not the earlier conditions that had reduced chewing, changed breathing, and narrowed the arches. By now, scientists framed crooked teeth as a mismatch disease. Anthropology compared ancient skulls with modern ones. Dentistry tracked the rising crowding. Growth biology showed a pattern. The environment changed fast. Bodies lagged. The key idea stayed simple. Teeth sizes mostly held steady across generations, but jaws responded to use, especially in childhood. Less chewing, weaker tongue posture, and easier swallowing pushed growing arches to narrow. So, modern crowding rarely looked like a sudden genetic failure. It looked like development taking cues from daily life. A plastic jaw met stable-sized teeth, and the math stopped working. Space ran out. By modern times, crooked teeth stopped seeming unusual. In many countries, crowded bites and uneven jaws appeared so often they felt normal. Routine checkups looked for problems early because malocclusion showed up everywhere. Orthodontic care turned into a standard fix. Braces, aligners, and extractions managed the same basic issue again and again. Teeth still arrived at nearly full size, but growing jaws often failed to make room for them. Wisdom teeth became the expected surprise at the end of adolescence, frequently trapped or painful. The contrast stayed stark. Hard living once built wide jaws through heavy chewing, but soft modern life made that outcome increasingly preventable.